So, hi everyone. So, today is our day two session, and yesterday we have discussed in our advanced Java four technologies. First one is JDBC, which is nothing but the Java database connectivity. Second one is Servlet, and third one is JSP, JavaScript pages, and fourth one is MVC, model view control, as well as some basic SQL queries and JDBC to the database. How this communication happen in between JDBC to the database. Here, as well as yesterday, we have discussed about the APIs, JSE API. So it contains a set of classes and interfaces which are used to develop the standalone application and to develop the web application. Okay, so what type of classes and interfaces? JEE API, which is nothing but the Java Enterprise Edition. So, as we have discussed, and today we have to be discuss what is the web application and what is the web application architecture and what is the server, how this servlets will take the response and the request and how this it will communicate with the JDBC and JDBC to the database, how this interaction happens. We have to be aware of this one. So before going further, what is the JDBC, Java database connectivity? So what is the purpose of the JDBC? Why do we use this technology? The purpose of the JDBC. It seems to be good. The purpose of JDBC. So where we have to be used and why do we use this? And we have to be aware of this first one. It tells what does it mention? It tells the connection between the JDBC to the database. The main purpose of the JDBC is it it defines the or it tells the connection between our JDBC to the database. JDBC to the database, right? So today we have to be see these technologies as well as we have to be aware where we have to be use our basic SQL queries and why it is important. So before going to JDBC technology, we will practice some basic SQL queries as well, and we have to be understand for what reason we should connect our JDBC to the database. The reason for connecting our JDBC to the database. Right. So we have to be understand first for what reason why do we connect our JDBC to the database because we have to be perform some operations. So because we have to perform some operations. So what type of operations we have to be performed on our database and right. So what type of operations as well as we have to be aware of we will perform these operations. Where do we perform these operations? So we have to be perform these operations on data, right? Perform operations on data. So what is the data? What is data? So first we have to be aware of this one before going to our how we have to be perform the operations in the via SQL queries. Right. So what is the data? What is the medium? What is the storage? What is the medium and what is the storage? We have to be aware of this one. Storage. Okay. Storage. Right. So before going to the JDBC, we will come to know like what is the storage and what is the medium, what is the data. So data can be, what do you think that data is nothing but it could be anything, like customer table, employee table, or what else we have, so many things, right? Transaction date, or the order information, or the policy details. It could be anything. So any type of data or any type of tables that we have already practiced with our SQL queries, how to write the SQL queries, so it can be anything. So on these tables of data, like it could be a customer's data or the transaction data or employee data, on this we are performing some operations, like some aggregate queries or anything. So we have to be perform some operation in order to store our data, retrieve the data, right? So we have to be do all those things. And if we want to perform some operations on data, the database, as you already know, that database, do you think the database can understand our Java language? Because we have to be make sure that our Java API is the connection between JDBC to the database, how it will happen, and how these operations can perform. So that thing we have to be aware of. So it cannot understand as our programming language like Java, C++, C Sharp, or anything. So it can understand what the database. Okay, database, database. So it can understand only our query language. So database, it can understand only query language, right? So does it understand what is the method overloading, what is the constructor, what is the object? It doesn't understand. It understand only the query language, right? So if you want, we just check this in the diagrammatic format. So let's take this. This is Java API. Okay, so this is nothing but the Java API programming language. And what is this one? This is our database. Okay, database. So how, what we have to do? We have to be communicate by performing some operations. So here I write performing operations. Right. So these SQL queries will send the Java application to the database. And what is the solution? So Java API programming language will send the data as a query language format to the database, structure query language. So let me write here. Okay, so how does it happen? Yeah, so these SQL queries will understand the Java application to the database, right? SQL Java application to database. And so database will understand and it will give the response, right? It will give the response to our query. And yes, so what it will do, some arrow mark, why this arrow mark is not working, I guess, no problem. So these database, oh my god, this, So what it will do, the database will understand and gives the response, right? So database will understand and gives response to the query language, gives response to our. So as we have discussed, database can understand only the query language. So what technology overall it is used, we have to be aware of this before going to our uh, JDBC technology. First we have to be understand like what is the web application, so you might get an complete idea. So let me try to draw here, right? Just assume like this is an end user. So as we are going to be discuss about, we have to be first to get an complete idea how this intercommunication happen between JDBC to the database. First we have to be aware of the what is the what is our architecture, web application architecture. I guess it is easy for us to draw as a picture format. So yes, so this is nothing but the end user. What the end user will browse the. So this is, he is checking the browse. So this is nothing but our browser. So whatever the request, if he is requesting or trying to check anything, so we have to be see this first. This is nothing but our. Yes. So just assume this is the servlets and this is our JDBC and this is a JSP. So you can understand that JSP is nothing but the tags. It is similar, it looks like some HTML tags. So you can understand there is no problem in that. And how this JDBC will communicate to our database. So here first, it is a end user. End users are nothing but like as we all. So this is nothing but the browsers, or we can call it as a client as well, right? And so this is nothing but the entire, this is nothing but server, right? Yeah, for our better understanding purpose. So this is nothing but the server, and so this is servlet. This is JSP, or we can HTML, and this is our JDBC, and this is our database. So what first the end user will do? End user will pass some request, and by using the browser. So what the browser will give, send this as a request format. So this arrow marks is not working, no problem. It will give as the request, and it will take it as a request. It will take it as a request type, and So what the servlet will do, servlet will send communicate with the JDBC. And what the JDBC will do, JDBC will try to connect with the database, and database will give some response, right? So it is giving some response. Database is giving perform some operations and giving the response to the JDBC. And what the JDBC will do, JDBC will give the response back to the servlet. And what the servlet will do, servlet will present in such a format, because if we give the direct response, then the end user may don't understand. So for that purpose, the way technology what we have to be use JSP. So servlet is a responsible to convert in that manner as a JSP that everyone can understand, and it gives the response back to the servlets. And servlet will give the response back to the browser. So this is nothing but the response. Okay, so it is giving the response to the finally browser. So our end user, whatever they are looking for, they can understand and check what they are looking for if they perform. So all this how, so now first we have to be discuss how this JDBC will communicate with the database, right? So before that, going to how to write the SQL queries, and how the JDBC and the database will communicate and how it will give the response, we have to be aware of writing the SQL queries. How it will give the response, JD database. So how we have to be write the SQL queries without any syntax error. If you are writing queries without any error, then if you're writing any queries or with any syntax error, do you think that database can understand and gives the proper response? It won't understand, it gives the error. It won't, it will show or exception or error. So to talk about this error, as we already aware of how we have to be do this exception handling. So exception again, it's if you want, but for the time being I would have explaining the programmatic structure, how this exception, what are types of the exception, predefined or built-in exception, user defined or the customer defined exceptions. We have two types of exceptions, right? So if this is a exception handling, okay, so if I go beyond this, so it will take a lot of time, but let me just try to explain it in the simple manner. So we have two types. First one is nothing but the, just minimize it, predefined, predefined, or we can call it as a built-in exception. And the second one is nothing but the user defined, right? User defined. So in this predefined, we have again the asynchronous and asynchronous. So what is this asynchronous and synchronous will do? So synchronous, as you have already learned this, and in our core Java programming, right? So it is something related to the memory problems or motherboard mouse failures, etc., right? And the synchronous is nothing but the programming errors. So there are again two types. There are again two types. First one is nothing but the checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions, right? So what we will do in the checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions, It is nothing but the programmatic compile time error, like file not found exception, class not found, IO exceptions, or etc. Right? And unchecked exceptions, it is are those which are in which are the programmatic runtime errors. So we can give its examples as arithmetic, array index out of bound exception, number format exceptions, and to deal with the unchecked exceptions, like we have the superclasses, we have the predefined superclasses, as well as so we have learned this in our Java core Java programming. So to coming to this, let's start with our few basic pathway to the advanced Java topics, right? So as a super keyword, where we have to be used is super keyword, as I just told you, right? We have a predefined superclasses called the java.lang dot run runtime exceptions. Okay, so we do have this super keywords. If you are not aware of this, like we will learn now to understand our JDBC and servlet technologies, how it is useful, and JSP, it is, as I told, everyone can understand because it looks like a HTML tags similarly, right? HTML tags, not bother about it. So it looks like the HTML tags. uh, as we have to be know and aware of this, we have to be aware of the strong knowledge on the abstract classes, interfaces, about exception handling, and bit of collections, like collections as well important. So SQL basics, that we have already aware of this one. So we will come to know all this for coming in this 2 or 3 sessions most probably, right? So after that technologies, we will know, eventually we will come to know. So just tell me before going to this one, as we have already discussed, so why can't I write the programs in the natural languages? As we have understood, database can understand only the query language, and java can, and to execute the programs as it is required for the java programming. Then so you might get the doubt, like why can't we write the programming in our natural languages like English or Telugu or Hindi, right? So why this only formal languages is required? So machine only understand the bits and bytes. Machine does not understand our Java programming. Machine does not understand our database. So there is some condition and a set of rules is applied. So that's why we cannot write the programming languages in our natural languages. So why? Because we have so many languages, it needs so many compilers as well. So making this standard, we have to be create like a Java, Python, this type of languages, right? And these type of languages has already a compilers that can convert our language to the computer understandable language, so it is easy, right? For that, that's why it is not required for us to write in our mother tongue. So you might get this doubt, why can't I write the programs in natural languages, right? So the answer is, as just now I explained, it's actually a, yeah, I know, like you might all are thinking like how this a funny question, right? Yes. So but we have a reason for this one. So what can be, we have to be try to memorize it for a long time. Let me take an example so you can understand it better. Okay, so this color seems to be nice. So if I take an example, Here I am drinking water. So can you try to translate it exactly in Telugu or English? I am means may. Okay. So how you will translate this? So the translation for this one is something like this. If I translate in Hindi, मैं पानी पी रहा हूँ. Right. So do you think this is a exact sentence English to Hindi which I translated just now? No. Right. It is not the exact one. So it is like what is here option? Okay. So no problem. This is not the exact one. So what is the exact one? How does it looks like? मैं पी रहा हूँ. मैं पी रहा हूँ पानी. So that I am drinking water. I am drinking water. So exact translation is मैं पी रहा हूँ पानी. If you if I go within Telugu, నేను తాగుతున్నాను నీళ్ళు. This is exact sentence that I can translate. Right. So this is nothing but the exact sentence. Exact translation from English to Hindi, and this is a exact translation English to Telugu. So in the as you can see, if I take any other examples, I left the office. Okay, so I left the office. It means if you can translate exactly in Hindi, मैं 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 गया office. So it doesn't make any sense. I am leaving to the office. मैं जा रहा हूँ office. So again, it doesn't make any sense sentence that no one can understand, and because the translation is like difficult, right? So that is so this is the exact sentence, and what is the actual sentence is if I am drinking a water. Actual sentence. Actual sentence is nothing but I'm drinking water. मैं पानी पी रहा हूँ. Right. मैं पानी पी रहा हूँ. So this is a correct sentence. And in Telugu, if you can see, నేను నీళ్ళు తాగుతున్నాను. So this is nothing but the that actual sentence. Okay, so why we have to be no? You might I understand like it seems to be like a little bit not interested, but so first we have to be understand why. So this is our question, right? Why can't I write the programs in natural languages? So it is just a little bit a deep understanding that why it is not possible. Like can you tell me like who is subject and object? So subject is drinking, right? Subject is drinking, and what is the object? What is the object? Water. Yes. So subject is drinking, object is water. So if you take in English, पी रहा हूँ is subject, पानी is object, drinking is subject, and water is object. So this is we have to be aware of. You might get a good understanding about the natural formal languages translation, right? Like nobody say मैं पी रहा हूँ पानी, मैं पानी पी रहा हूँ. That is a correct one to learn the spelling. So don't go with my spelling as it happens sometimes. So let's focus on our, like, who is the subject and who is the object. As we have discussed, subject is nothing but the drinking and object is water. So I'm giving the actual reason, like why I can't write the programming languages in our mother tongue, in our natural languages. Why we have to be learn the Java, C Sharp, Python, .NET to create. Why it is available in English languages, and as you can see in natural languages, subject and object, because the main reason why it is in English, so why it is not in our any other languages, because in natural languages subject and object is going to be interchange, right? In different languages or many other languages, as per the flow, subject and object will change. That's why it is not possible, right? Create the translator. If you take a Java programming, it follows certain syntaxes as Java programming. Not only the Java programming, but C Sharp, .NET, Python, C++, Java, they all follow certain syntaxes, right? So what about our natural languages? Do they have any like proper syntaxes? No, right? It don't have. They're all going to change by subject and job object. So that's why it create the confusion, or we can it is confusion or chaos, right? So you got my point. That's why obviously it is not possible for creating or generating the translated for these many languages, right? So you all got my point. I'm hoping that now you have to be understand. That's why we cannot write the programming in any of our language like Hindi, Telugu, English, because the reason all these languages doesn't have any proper syntaxes as a C, Java, C Sharp, .NET. All this have some. They follow some certain set of instructions or syntaxes, so the machine can understand. But what about in our national language? It their subject and object are going to be interchanged, so it is hard for generating the translations or for converting the programming in English, programming in Hindi, etc. So programming to the Telugu, to the machine language, we cannot write the programmings, right? We cannot write it in our natural languages. I'm hoping that you all got my point. So I'm tracking, I guess. Yeah, let me just try to. If you got, you can just comment yes. If you don't, that is fine, acceptable. You are my best and great viewers always. Thank you. So this is the reason, in natural languages, subject and object are going to be changed according to the statements, like whatever the statements. So it is not possible for generating or create the compilers or translators for those languages. So we can't write the computer programming in our natural languages. You got my point, right? So tomorrow, if anyone says why are why why you are learning Java, .NET, C Sharp, C++, etc., like artificial intelligence or anything like prompt engineering, something new technology is coming. Okay, so even though these many technologies are there, why are you learning or writing? You can give the correct answer like this, right? As we have already discussed, if anyone asks, nobody will ask, I know. In case if they ask, you know what to answer. So as they don't know, means as they don't know, no one, no problem. So they will just like a test or say or leave. So or like we might if we don't able to answer, then sometimes it happens, right? Like we might get disappointed, but no problem. That's all right. So as you all understood, why can't we write the programs in our natural languages? So we can leave this topic here. So you got my concept. So let just go for our concept. Like I'm expecting, we are not expecting. So it is like just like an example, not go with any bookish kind of the definitions as I'm going, as I'm again. My intentions is like yesterday I told you in advanced Java, both the technologies like JDBC and servlets are very important, and we have to be must aware of the abstract classes and interfaces. Mostly we have the 90% technology in interfaces, right, for JDBC. So let me just write it JDBC and Servlet. So for these two technologies, we must here. Yes. So for these two technologies, as I said, JSP technologies purely contains water tags. Hope you got my point. So that's why for this JDBC and servlets are important, that we have to be aware of the, yeah, we have to be aware of the abstract classes and interfaces. So these are the, like mostly we have the 90% technologies in interfaces. 90% technologies in interfaces that we have to be used. If you take the servlet technology or JDBC technology, right? So basic knowledge is required. And to talk about this JDBC technology development, so you should know about HTML, how to design the web pages using the HTML, CSS. I'm not insisting like you must know the HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. If you know basics, it is fine. It is well and good. It will be useful only, but one or two applications like I will try to showcase, but yeah, but later on if you want, you can apply it, otherwise you can leave it. It all depends on your JavaScript knowledge. But what are the other things you must know is HTML and CSS. So first one is the basic things we have to be aware of: HTML and CSS, right? So my question uh, for all of you is, how do you differentiate? How do you differentiate? So let me just make it here. How do you differentiate abstract classes, abstract class with interface in real time? In real time. Okay, so as you already know, just try to recollect. Okay, like you go through that answer, and yesterday we have already discussed in our core programming. I mean, in core Java, while you are learning, or you already know the difference between what is the abstract class and interface. Yesterday also we have discussed with examples abstract class, and have the abstract methods. Like yes, right, abstract class here, abstract class has the abstract method, and where I will write. Okay, abstract method and the concrete methods. Right. So yesterday we have seen this one, but interface have the abstract method, and it is like a partial abstract method. It is a partial abstract method and the pure abstraction. Some words we all have to be use it already. Okay, but we are not expecting those bookish kind of definitions, right? You got my point. So just always try to explain it in an example, even in interview also. How you will explain by taking an example you have learned, right? I I make you to speak how to learn all. Eventually, you will come to. Don't worry. So by the end of the advanced Java session, at least I will make you to learn all of those. Okay. So for example, you can tell me we should not use like yesterday's session as I have given here the examples the car, bike, car, bike, bus. So these are very beginning stage. We learned like an abstract class, both the abstract and non-abstract method are present in the interface. Only the methods are present. So this we all know. In abstract class, we write the implementing the details, and in interface we create incomplete methods. So these are these a few points. Abstract classes, certain one or more abstract methods, but interfaces have only one abstract class. So in abstract class we implement same methods, right? In abstract class we implement the same methods, and interfaces are some development. This is used for in the development software side. But what is the most answer that you can expect here? As you can tell me like what is the purpose of the interface in every interview, or interviewer expecting you should aware of strongly the knowledge that you have to be aware of, right? In our advanced Java JDBC technology, servlet technology, it is purely depending on the abstract class or the interfaces. We should have a good clarity. For example, servlet class, I have to be I have to be extend my I have to be extend my servlet class, which are nothing but the abstract classes which are extending, so which are nothing but the abstract classes, right? So as we have already discussed, and hope you have practiced well, and you are already aware of this technology, so let's move further. And you got my point. But no problem. Initial 2 days we will discuss this kind of basics. We have to be aware of strong basics. It's like a pillar for our subjects. Like we have to be must and should aware of the basic knowledge, right? In interviews also, as you can see, they will ask basic related questions. So what is interface? Like no definition and interface or collection. That is okay if you don't know. But if we know that what is the purpose of the interface, and where it is used, so important things we have to be aware of, and you can learn it, like what is the how to achieve the multiple inheritance. So these type of questions you might aware, or if you don't know you can learn it, no problem. We are here. So like how to achieve multiple. This is the frequent questions, right? If we want to change the functionality, or if we want to implement some kind of functionalities for another user using, we can implement we can implement the some to the another classes to the interface. So it is like, so we can implement, we don't need to be changed their previous code in previous classes. Like in the interface we don't need to be change anything, method signature with the same, it is for the loose couple environment we can achieve. So all these are the like bookish kind of definitions that we have already know. But what is the main purpose, how we have to be present this in the real time scenarios? Like without any proof we cannot talk in the air, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like there should be a purpose. after listening this session, like everybody engaged with their your own work, like what direction I have after the session, in which direction I have to go to the exit, right or left, without any purpose. You cannot go blindly. So we have a purpose in our life as well, right? If straight there is a wall, you cannot go and hit to the wall. So it doesn't make any sense, right? Like you can already, like our brain functionality will work like this. So you can walk aside beside the wall, there is a way to go outside, exit, right? Similarly, we cannot explain it in the air. If somebody asks like what is the interface and what is the purpose, where it is used, what is the multiple inheritance, so we have to be give the solid proof while explaining. So with the proper proof purpose, you got my point. So let me just take an example. So in a bank, like we have a cards, different cards, debit cards, credit card, and platinum card. All these three cards, internet, like different in all the for these three cards, different interest rate is applicable. Bank interface implement, so it implements the different interest rate. Bank is an interface. Okay, so bank. Suppose so this is a bank. Okay, so it has a like three classes, these three cards, which I told you, right? Credit card, debit card, and the platinum card. So it implements these three cards, classes implements. Okay, so credit card and so just platinum. So what they are doing, they are impl- implementing the interface bank through this two cards, right? If you want to add the another card, we don't need to be change this functionality. We will just implement those. No need of changing the previous code. Just we will discuss like a little bit more, as you all know the definition wise, right? So in the syntax wise, that is fine, cool, but that is also required. Before that, we need to understand why this concept. Before to understand why this concept is given only in Java or in every programming language, there is a concept called interface, and the abstract classes, right? For any programming, not only the Java. If you can see C, C++, there is also we have the some interfaces and abstract classes, but the concept would be same. So I will explain, and I'm trying what is the purpose of the interface, then abstract class, and hope you can understand. So interfaces, let's say this example, I have an IT company. Okay, I have an IT company. Okay, I want to give the cards to my employees, like a gift card, so that my employees can utilize it in my office cafeteria. So what is my requirement? What is my requirement? I want to give the gift cards, like you might know, right? Sodexo cards to my employees. So I want to offer those cards to my employees so that they can use it in their cafeteria. You understood, I'm hoping. I'm an IT company. I want to offer gift cards. It's like a Sodexo cards to my employees so they can use it in the cafeteria in their break time. Okay. So, as you know, I have this business. I have an IT company, but I'm not a bank. So, to whom I will approach? I'm an IT company, so I will approach to the bank, right? I want to offer the cards so that they can swipe in the vending machines, as in many companies and everywhere you can see these vending machines, right? So that if they have a card or by money also, they can draw whatever the products they need. So every month I will try to credit some amount in their cards. like monthly 1500. Okay, so they can enjoy the food services or snacks in their break time. I'm an IIT company, right? I'm not a bank. So I will prepare and document. I hope you all are aware of the SDLC model. So it is how this ST software development life cycle used in every company. It is just like a framework, SDLC. So I would have explained in detail. This is my favorite topic: how this SDLC and the framework, how does it work in the company, okay, company, as well as how this framework will be used in the application. So I will explain this in one class in detail. So but as of now, let me again, I will divert, so let me just focus on this. So I am not a bank, I am an IT company. So we follow, and so we will follow this SDLC method. What I will do first, in the second step, I will gather the business requirement analysis and prepare the BRS document. So what is the BRS document? BRS is nothing but business requirement specifications, right? So what I will do, BRS document. So same thing, I prepared the document. So what are the my business requirement specification in my IT company? So I will search first. What I will do, I will search for a bank and ask them that. So these are my rules in the specifications in this document. So will you provide the cards for my employees? So I will approach to the bank and I will ask them, if you provide, I will give some amount to you, like 10% or 5% commission for maintenance and all. So what I am defining, what I am defining here. I'm approaching to the bank, what I am defining. So this is my question. So what I am doing, what I am doing here, I am defining a contract, right? Who should, why I'm defining this contract, and you can tell me who should follow my contract, which contains some guidelines and contract. My contract contains set of rules and guidelines, right? My contract contains set of rules and guidelines, and whatever the names, you can apply it, who should follow them, the bank who provides the gift card to my employees. So a contract I'm defining, I'm not implementing those rules. Okay, I'm defining a contract, but I'm not implementing those rules. I'm generating the, I am not. So who is generating the cards? Bank, obviously bank, right? So I'm just approaching, I'm an IT company, I'm approaching the bank, so it is bank responsibility, but I'm not generating the cards. I'm an IT company, so that is bank work. Who will prepare the cards by following my set of rules and guidelines? I'm just, so who is following? Bank, right? Here, so we have to be, now I'm defining the rules, in other words it is called the contract. So coming to the programming in Java, defining the terms contract, is that implementation contains the contract or only the rules? Only the rules, right? As if I would have right here. So only the rules in programming language Java, it is defined. What do we call interface? Now, now tell me, what's the purpose of the interface? By what is the purpose of the interface? What is the purpose of the interface? The purpose of the interface is creating or user to define the contract. But answer is here. This is question, right? And what is the answer? Yes. So, what is the purpose of the interface? The purpose for this is creating a creating or user to define, or it is user to define a contract, right? In my case, who is the following the contracts providing the who is the following who is following the implementations bank, right? Yes. So in programming language, there are you can say this one as called as classes. And what is the purpose of the interface? Defining a contract in programming language, right? So interfaces is nothing but defining. Interfaces defining a nothing but contract. To define a contract, there is a like communication on between business and bank is happening. To define a contract, IT company to the bank, right? So my business is IT industry. You got my point, right? So my business, what is my business? IT company. And their business, bank, right? So what is the communication where this so for this communication happened, right? Okay. So communication happened in between. So let me just okay. Communication happened in this two business, like you can say between the B2B, business to business, right? So what is the purpose of interface? Creating generally is user to define the contract which provides business to business communication. In this point, I'm hoping it is clear, right? In terms of the programming, who should provide the implementation class? Classes have to provide the implementation for guidelines for the rules defined by an interface, right? So those classes we are calling as a implementation classes. You got my point, right? So those classes we are calling as an implementation here. Those classes we are, so these are my interface class, and we are implementing, right? Implementation classes. So what is the keyword? Keyword is nothing but the implementation. So are we using extends here? Do we using extends? No. What is the keyword? Obviously it is a implement. We are implementing the rules and guidelines, as well as what we call the another way specifications. So we are just implementing the rules and guidelines specification. We are not implementing the cards, platinum cards. What we are implementing? We are implementing guidelines specifications. Hope so it is clear. So let's take another example in another way of understanding the interfaces. So why this? As I said, 90%, 90%. Where is this 90% interface that we, yes, here. So as we have to be used this 90% uh, interfaces in our two technologies. First one, JDBC and Servlet technologies. So that's why, let me try to give the another example in simple manner. Later you will come to know, like, interfaces provides the multiple inheritance. Am I right? Hope you understood. Am I right? Yeah. That multiple inheritance is not possible in class levels, but possible with multiple inheritance is not possible with the class levels, but possible with interfaces. Later on, I will ask this question, like hoping you to be answered that if you are aware, it is just an online class. So, but you have to be aware. Assume that in a project, like, this is just an example. Okay, so in the project there are two modules. Okay, so if you can modules, as you might aware of this module. What is the module? If I take any example, or so let me just try to open this products. So this is okay, yeah. So this is one website. Okay, so just assume like this is an application, and what is the modules here? So cooking is one module, dishwashing is module, refrigeration. So these are nothing but the modules, the main pages. So we can call it as a modules units, right? So in our company, like, we have the five modules. So for cooking, in cooking also there are so many items, right? What are the so many items? Yes, ovens, cooktops, so freestanding range hoods. These are the sub modules that which is comes into the module of the cooking. So if I take the another example, like second example. Okay, so employee, so it would be a better understanding for everyone. Payroll and investment, instead of this cooking and the kitchen, just understand as in the employee. Okay, in an employee table, like payroll and investment. We are not going for any bookish kind of definition. We will see that later. It is just a general way to understand it better, for our better understanding, right? So we have two modules. We have two modules. What are the two modules? This is a payroll, and this is which module? Investment. Payroll module and investment module, right? Yes. So I'm working on a payroll module. It depends on the investment module also. How? Because at the end of the month, payroll should be generated for the employee based on the salary model, right? Salary slips or the pay slips or deductions, like, we have this investment by cutting the investment, ESI, PF, gratuity, now gratuity. So in every company, like, these are the common. So currently my project is under development. I'm working on a which module? I'm working on this module, payroll module. Investment module is not yet started. So just, it is not yet started in agile methodology. So again, if you know about this agile methodology, it is well and good, and I will take this separate session for this agile methodology. Again, it is an interesting topic. So what I'm saying, in investment module, It is not yet started, only started the payroll. So investment module will start after 2 months, but payroll is already started and we are working. Payroll module should interact with which module? Investment module, right? It has to be interact with investment module to for like if I for why it should be interact with the investment module, like to generate the payslips, as to generate the payslip. So for your better understanding. But what about the investment module? It is not yet started, right? So it will start after 2 or 3 months. That implementation is not ready. So this implementation is not yet ready. So what we will do? It will obviously it is not yet ready and it will start after 2 to 3 months. I wait for so should I wait for another 2 months or 3 months, because I'm just started to get the payslip. I wait for until that module is complete. So I have already started, but I cannot wait, right? For example, they are going to be complete in a time frame of 6 months, because this 3 months and the 6 months are totally the 9 months. I first, because payroll is already completed and as invest and it is, so we have to be generate our pay slip, or it is not yet ready and it will take the another 2 or 3 months, so I cannot wait until that module is complete. It again waiting for 9 months for my work is will be pending, right? Hope you got my point. So then what is the solution for this? So what is the investment module? What How it is not yet started? So to like what we will do to create an interface. So what the people in the company will do, they will create an interface. And what what they will tell us, boss, use this interface and continue your programming, you don't need to be wait for me. So you got it, right? Is that implementation is ready? No. But what they are doing, they have already defined the interface, right? What they If the interface is there, in the interface method names are there, method contains the parameters, inputs, return types for output. With that, what I will come to know, like I can create the payroll module. I can create the payroll module. If I pass this inputs, I will get the output information is ready, as you can check here in this one, right? So which one I am currently working? So here, as you can see, I'm currently working on this payroll module. What is the method signature, and what this method signature contains? So if you want, I can give this simple example for your better understanding. So I have a company and there is a two modules. I cannot wait for the payroll module is already started, and I cannot wait for the investment module to get it complete. So they have given the interface that we can implement by using the features, right? So how what method signature contains? So I will give an example, but before that, what information you need to be tell me the substring method you are like calling the string, right? So do you know the substrings, handling the substring, or tell me to call that methods, what we should know: method name, substring, parameters, starting index, ending index, and it returns the string. That is enough, right? Are you writing the logic for this substring? No. So to call that methods, what is needed? You can tell me the answer. A method name required, a parameters or return type is required to call the method. Right. So let me give this simple example if you can understand public. Right. So these are the parameters x comma and y. Okay. So here, if I say x greater than y, then what it is returning? It return x value. It returns the x. Else, by default, it will returns the y. Right. So this is just a simple example. So if you take another example also, same thing happens. Like let me take the another example. Final. So if I'm using here the final keyword, just take it as anything related to the simple interest, as we have already discussed about this one. So float. So what are my parameters here? Float e comma float q, and these are my parameters. Float. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm returning the response, right? What I will do, I'll just get the p into q into r divided by 100. So it will return the response. What is the answer? So this is just an example how we have to be use these methods in the, like in the programmatic way. You have already aware, but no problem. Yeah, method name required the parameters and the return type is required, right? So to understand how the parameters and return type is required, if we are creating an interface, it required the methods, what type of the methods, method names, parameters, return types. This information is available to call that method. Am I right or not? Now tell me, what do I wait for another 6 months? As you can see, so I know what are the informations, everything, the method. So okay, so I have the all the things which is required. So tell me why this interface is why I need to be wait for another 6 months, or the time frame which is given, as I am already aware of this. I'm working on this payroll and investment is not yet started, but we know what are the types of methods it is required and how we have to be work on it, as we already aware of that one. So tell me, like, why interfaces are created to provide a contract between the two models. Here are previously two business, currently two modules. You got it right. So I'm hoping you understood. You got this concept. So you can think on this. Later on, you can practice these methods and everything. But in this case, why interface is created and what is the purpose of the interface? To define a contract, between these two modules. Finally, what is the purpose of creating the interface in Java or any other language? The purpose is what? To define the contract. To define the, where is my cursor? To define the contract in between these two modules or the two business in this real time. What we have to use this interface, right? To create the contract in between these two modules. So later on, how this interface is created, interface keyword, it is public or private or static. It, so we will, it is abstract. You have learned, you will come to learn. So those things all already I'm thinking about, only the purpose. So what is my question here? What about the abstract class, more or less abstract also, like some in which situations we have to be create an abstract class. So now we have understood the interface, and how does it implements the modules, the two modules, and in these two modules how this contract will work. So we have understood. So I repeat my question, almost like whatever it is possible with interface can also be done with the abstract to accept the multiple inheritance. And you are talking because the one class can implement the number of interfaces, right? So one class can implement the number of interfaces, but one class can extend only one base class. Multiple inheritance is not possible. To accept this reason, like remaining all the possible correct remaining. So when should I create the abstract class? So let me just write this point first for your better understand. So it make the clear understanding for everyone. Interfaces in real time are used. Interfaces real time are used to define a contract between define a contract between two modules, right? So example, you can keep this in mind so you can memorize it. Okay, so you got my point. Abstract class is also same thing. It's actually complicated question, like, but I want to make it simplify. Okay, so I want to explain like what is the purpose, really, like why. You got my point, right? Let's take an example, like in the programmatic in my company, or I'm running a insurance company. Okay, and my company is going to offer the different type of insurance. Now I have a company, insurance insurance company. Okay, so I'm running the insurance company, and my company is going to be offer the car insurance, life insurance, house insurance, health insurance, like that, many insurance. So mine is an insurance company, but my requirement, all this type of insurance policies must be generated in like whatever the customers are required. So is everybody getting? Uh, I'm hoping that everybody can understand. So I have this insurance company. So let me. This is another example. So I'll just give the another font size color. Okay, it looks. Yeah. Okay. So everybody can understand easily, right? So I have a different insurance policies. So today insurance is very important, and I am running the famous business related to the insurance, like phone insurance, especially any type of insurance. uh, yes, phone insurance, especially why it is important, because our hands sometimes we are just trying to operate the phone, and sometimes it get slipped, and we might broke, and our screen get cracked. So it happens with me every time. Yeah, so that's why like insurance is better. So I have an insurance company. Coming to the point, so customers will buy the so customers, obviously whatever it is required, so they will buy the insurance policies. In my insurance company, like what I will do, first I will calculate like premium amount, and then generate the insurance policy or display the information on policy. So these two things are there. Okay, so simple example I will take here, because I do not want to fed up many things in a single session. Some simple things, abstract classes concept. So I am explaining here. With this understanding of the abstract class will wind up our session. Okay, so what I want to create the insurance policy, and what are the operations? for the insurance policy, like to let me just write it here, insurance policy. So don't use always like ABCD or XYZ or M1, M2, M3. Use like different names. So this is an insurance policy, and so what are the two things? Calculate premium, and another thing is display the information. So okay, so tell me now, what are the two different methods, like two different operators in insurance policy? First one is calculate premium, and second one is display the information. Right? I want to create the insurance policy. Okay, but the calculation of the premium policy will be differentiate from the health insurance, right? I want the insurance policy, but the calculation of the premium policy will be different from the health insurance policy to the car insurance policy. For everything, health insurance policy is different. There are some different functionalities or methods that are required, and for the car insurance, some certain terms and conditions are there that we have to be followed, right? So both are having the different type of calculations. Health insurance might be less or car insurance might be more. So there is a different parameters structures are there for the calculation, but calculation is different. After the calculation, that display the same type, like what the format, right? What is the display? That displays your name, right? What it will display, it will just okay, no, I need this one. So what it will display, it first it will display your name and your policy number, premium, policy number, and premium. You all got it, right? Which one you prefer? So now, creating the interface or creating the abstract class, which one you prefer? In this case, abstract class. Displaying the information is default behavior. Default behavior. Which one is not default? Calculating the premium. Okay, it is not a default behavior. But which is the default behavior? Display information is the default behavior. So you can tell me now when to use the abstract classes, and abstract classes also defining the contract, defining only, defining contract only, right? Defining a contract, there is a default behavior, there is a default behavior exists, then you can go for creating the abstract classes rather than creating the interface. If there is no default behavior when you are defining a contract, there is no default behavior, then you can create an interface. So now, when do you create an abstract class, and when do you create an interfaces? While defining a contracts to provide the module to module communication or business to business communication. Am I right? You got my point, right? If you find any default behavior, then better to go with which one, abstract classes. If you don't find any default behavior, okay, here as here. Right. So these are the two modules. If you don't find, if you don't find any default behavior, then go for the interfaces class. Finally, you will get an answer. Okay. While defining a contract to provide a module to module communication, like these are the two modules. Right. If you don't find any default behavior, then go for the interface. If you don't find any behavior, then go for the interface class. Okay, so can you tell me, like, what did I explain? Like, what is a final, and when do you create the abstract classes? When do you create an interface while creating a contract, right? So here, if there is any default behavior, then as I mentioned, we are creating the default behavior, creating the abstract classes, default abstract classes, default behavior. Then you can go for the interfaces. If you don't find any default behavior, then go for the creating the interface. That's all. On this basis, like you should think whether if I go with creating the abstract class or interface, then you can think of whether you want the multiple inheritance or not. If you want the multiple inheritance, then go for creating the interfaces, otherwise go for creating the abstract classes. On this basis, like you should decide, okay, we go for abstract class or interface class. So if you want, I will write it, so it will not take the more time. Here, abstract class. The abstract class is used for definer, is used for defining a contract, right? And so it is used to defining a contract, which also contains some. So let me write, which also contains some default, contains some default behavior, right? Default behavior. Okay. Yeah. If you want to achieve the multiple inheritance, then like if you want to achieve multiple inheritance, then go for, then use the interface, then interface. Otherwise use, you can use abstract class, other abstract classes. Now you got right. So why am I explaining and stressing for this abstract and interfaces classes? Because our servlet technology depends on mainly these two things, like abstract class and interface class, and abstract and interface only for our technologies, right? Servlet technology. So remaining we will discuss tomorrow. Again, I'm asking question like why the multiple inheritance is not possible in classes, as you can just okay, so why? So you can just remember these 2 points. So here you can come to know. So let's see the tomorrow session. Thanks to all.